Oh, fun night. You never know how these nights are going to go. We feel like we got better. Um, the staff was amazing. I mean, they were so good. So, Sach, Matt, Zarko, Manny, those guys crushed it. A lot of movement. Who knows if this is a good or great night, but we felt like we added some pieces that fit who we are culturally and hopefully can make us a better team.
Did you plan on, or did you anticipate it kind of being a really active night in terms of moving around, or is it hard to say?
It's funny, John. It's you have a million calls, and then when you're on the clock, the calls become pretty hectic. And again, we got to make this a 2-day thing. We got to make this a 2-day thing. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, let me turn this off. So we thought it might be active, but it really wasn't that active heading into the night. And as the picks kind of around 8 or 9 started to develop, it became more went from conversational to more actionable.
There was kind of, maybe some surprises right at the top with how things unfolded. But once you got into your area, was it kind of the way you envisioned it a little bit about what your options would be?
Again, that room they did such a fantastic job kind of forecasting what we thought it might be. So we did some things tonight that will materialize over the next couple of days, but it allowed us some flexibility because we had a pretty good lay of the land. And again, those guys were so awesome.
Seemed pretty surgical in terms of going after specific needs.
You're giving us too much credit. It was. I was lucky. Those guys weren't lucky. I mean, those guys were surgical. I'm just the dumb guy trying to execute it all. But we were looking for personality types. Certainly, we're looking for guys that we can grow with long term. We don't want to put too much expectations on their ability to contribute right away. When you have a team who had as much success as we did, it's hard to put that on their shoulders. But if you're lucky enough to draft a couple of good players, and that can be super impactful as they progress and kind of grow into good NBA players.
Are you on the phone now with free agents? So what happens next, really, as you kind of look into summer league?
Yeah, well, summer league should be done this evening, and then relax a couple of days and get free agency, and then disappear for a month and go drive from Denver to Minnesota.
Will the point guard, the Italian point guard, will he stay overseas that you grabbed, or is there?
The plan. Very excited about him, but I think he's a guy that we'll talk to his representation. We think he's best served staying overseas, hopefully in a really nice city that we can pay. Maybe the Athletic can visit.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to go over there.
Yeah, exactly. So he's unbelievably bright guy. Very productive guy given his age, and we're pretty excited about Mateo.
How important in the draft and in adding players as you go is it to be able to add players who could do different types of defensive schemes? This team, Finch talked a lot about how they're kind of a fastball team playing one way defensively for most of the year. How much does that factor in?
Well, there's certain skill sets that you try to. There's no perfect teams, but you try to say, do we have enough shooters, enough playmakers? Do we have enough rim protectors? So there's certain areas that we thought we got better at this evening. Certain things that maybe we kind of lacked prior to this evening. So only time will tell. But you're trying to be honest and self-critical of where you are, and hopefully address some of those needs this evening.
So you didn't want to put too much on those guys, but do you feel like you got better for this next season as well tonight?
I hope so. I think the guys we got are all big-time pros, and they're about the right things. And the background on these guys is sterling. So anytime you bring that type of professional and that type of competitor in this building, I think we got better. Not going to put unfair expectations on what they're going to do on the court. Most rookies don't make huge impacts, but I do think when you add the type of people we added, I think the organization got better.
How does this affect, if at all, what happens on July 1st in terms of free agency or trades?
I don't think it has a huge impact. I think, again, the draft's for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So I think to expect the picks, whatever we end up with, we were moving all over the place, to come and make an instant impact on a team that has great depth, that has really productive players as is probably unfair. So I don't think on the immediate future it would have a huge impact.
Yesterday, you made it sound like it was pretty unlikely that 4 rookies, make a roster. You end up making 4 picks. Was that what you expected, or?
Well, I think Mateo will be in Italy, and I don't think we can talk about the other 3, I guess, until it's. But I think there's some flexibility there when what we can do with these guys. So, what we wanted to do, and again, that room was so great at it. We didn't want to waste anything, and we feel, again, premature to say what happened this evening was good, better, and different. But we wanted to ensure that we kind of maximized the draft slots, and we thought through the creativity of those guys and girls. Hopefully, we did that.
Did you get that arguing that you wanted? when
Oh, are
you
you
came?
kidding me? I've already had a couple of beers because I'm so sick of it. There's a beer over there right by the WNBA balls. No shortage of arguing, which is great. No shortage of debate. Wouldn't have it any other way. And when they're in the room, we're all, there's no hierarchy. Let's just beat these guys up. Understand that it's unbelievably difficult to find good NBA players after a certain point in the draft. We're aware of the challenges that presents, but we think we left tonight with a bunch of guys we really, really like.
How much does maybe their ability to play alongside Carl or Ants in the long term affect your picks?
Well, I think it's not just specific to skill set. I think it's specific to character and work ethic and personality. Again, I guess we can't talk about some of these guys that will end up in Timberwolves jerseys, but to say that their background is stellar would be a gross understatement. Hall of Famers calling on their behalf during the draft, which was new to me. So, we're fired up, really fired up.
What is the balance? You talked about, character. You have to have the talent as well. So what is? Are you just looking for are you kind of making a chart of these are the guys with the character? Now, how do we rate them talent wise?
Well, you got to be super talented because the league is so supremely talented. But we're going to put an unbelievably huge emphasis on the people. When you have such a good young core as we have with Kat and Ant and D'Lo and Jaden and these guys, we have to support them with special people and big-time pros, self-motivated people, guys that we're not going to hold their hand to get in the gym. And the guys that we were fortunate enough to select this evening all check all those boxes.
So how does that work? Not everybody can have that character. So are you crossing half the guys off the list?
Not half. There's a few we cross out, and we could be wrong. I mean, it's these are the one thing is these guys are kids, and things can change dramatically for the good or bad. So I wouldn't say so much crossing guys out. I would just say we're very specific with what we were looking for.
Tim, were you able to check some needs boxes as well in terms of what some of these guys bring to the table in terms of maybe some immediate?
Yeah, I think there's some pieces we got this evening that have the ability to impact the game in ways that we presently don't have on our roster. I think that's fair. But again, we have a really good team, and the guys that we took this evening are going to be behind really good players. And those guys are going to have to work their tails off to even get on the court. But what I hope is in 2-3 years, we're talking about the draft in 2025, the guys we chose this evening are part of our core.
Who's the most famous Hall of Famer they called?
Most famous? Cal Ripken. I'm joking. Cal
Baltimore guy,
Baltimore guy, that'd be a great conversation.
I would love it if Cal Ripken called me. Yeah.
Draft's canceled.
You
Yeah.
drafted me.
Yeah.
Tim, not sure if we are going to talk to you before free agency, but there's been a lot of
Hope not.
speculation. There's been a lot of speculation about D'Lo's future here and potential on the trade market. In the short time you've been here, how have you evaluated where he might fit in long term with this franchise?
I think D'Lo was huge to the success of this team last year. I think he's an elite passer, elite shot maker. He loves basketball. The most exciting thing about this job is getting to know guys that I've been fans of from afar. And you don't want to force it. You don't want to come off as instancy or not be organic. So I'm excited to get to know him. I know how important he was to the success of this team, and he's a guy that is supremely talented, and it's hard to believe how young he is. He's seen everything this league could possibly throw at you. So I can't wait.
Tim, you
made your way
yesterday. Go ahead, Dave.
Have you made your way through the whole roster, as far as face-to-face conversations?
No,
so
I've
far?
not. No, I need to more face-to-face with my wife and kids. I think there'll be plenty of time for that. I've a lot of texts, a lot of calls. Again, don't want to force relationships. I think these guys are all great guys, but want it to happen naturally and not, you can't tell someone to trust you. It's got to be developed over time.
You talked yesterday about how in Denver there was certain things you looked for that led to some success in your picks that you had there. It sounds like character was one of them, judging by how tonight went. Is there other boxes that you are comfortable sharing?
7-foot Serbians from Sombor. We'll take them always. I think Look, I'm just a glorified scout with a cool title. So, I like guys who love basketball. I like guys that care to be in the gym. I don't like guys that, have one skill set. I like to. I mean, I'm from Baltimore, so we say, is he nice? Is the player nice? Like, I like nice players, the guys that can hoop. So I don't know if that's quantifiable. I don't know if that's, some really cool way in which I approach scouting. But when you played, you like hoopers. So that's what I like.
True gym rats, right? These are
Yeah,
fellas
dudes
who
a hoop. Guys that, scouting. There's so many smart people in this league, but if the first thing you say is some kind of somewhat, specific skill set that you wouldn't talk about in your open gym in North Minneapolis, probably not for us.